Oh man. So
Bit of
okay,
slapstick to us to start the pod. Right off the bat.
it's just
It's funny from the start. That's what you get.
yeah. I mean, I must admit that I didn't expect the backwards facing cap, but
Why would you? I look like an idiot.
okay.
I look like an
So
absolute
you are
idiot.
self-aware. You do
I'm
realize
doing
it.
this purely for comedic purposes.
Okay. Was there a part of you though that put it on with a little bit of hope? Just like maybe 20% put it on and was like, "You know what? Let's see because stranger things have happened."
Nah. I would never wear a hat like this. Maybe I might want to try and get away with like a this.
Okay. So
But
a little bit more of a rakish, front to back.
and to be fair, I think I do kind of make that work. I've never done this. I've never done this for realsies, but I think I could make that work.
I think that you kind of look like a director. You kind of look like you're
Wow.
shooting a commercial, you got places to be, and, the producers are in your ears and you've just got things to get done.
I like it. What type of director am I?
Probably pet food. But
Pet
like
food?
the cats are being a pain, and you can't deal with Mr. Fluffy.
Like
And
a pet food commercial.
yeah. And it's just like,
Can
oh,
someone do something with those fucking kittens?
why does it look like that? I don't want to eat this shit.
You call that a cat? Get me a real fucking cat and be back in 5. Okay? Take 5, everybody. We're going to be back in 5 and action.
It's you actually seem 100% like legit. This is
Wow.
the job that was meant for you.
Cool. Well, no, I don't need that. Why do I have 90s hair?
You took it off and there
Why'd
was like
that
a
just come
surprise
out like...
underneath.
It just come out like Hugh Grant for some reason. I mean,
Well, I
that's
mean,
something I want.
you've overshot.
No, I mean...
You came out looking
I would
like
never-
Screech, and you said you look like Hugh Grant.
I looked more like Paul Rudd. Let's split the difference.
In your dreams.
Yeah. Emma texted me the other day, apropos of nothing, it just said, I had the same birthday as Paul Rudd.
This explains why you're such a good match.
Yeah.
For you, it
Astrology
feels like
terms.
you're basically dating Paul Rudd, which is what we all want.
Yeah. Lucky her.
You seem bitter. You wish that your birthday was Paul Rudd's birthday.
I feel more like Paul Rudd than she does. And
Okay.
I think it's wasted.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry.
Your beard's looking very nice, Nick. It looks drawn on, to be honest, from here.
My beard?
Yeah.
It's just my
It
normal
looks like
beard.
a fake beard. It honestly looks like a fake beard.
Okay, well, thank you.
Yeah,
that's what I was going
it looks
for.
It looks like the quintessential...
Like, too good. Is that what you're saying?
A little bit. You look like a Lego. It looks like a Lego beard. You look like a Lego man.
Okay, you want to see a few more imperfections.
Man, you really just spin anything into a compliment, won't you?
Yes, I will spend anything into products.
You're so good at that.
I'm not that good at it. That's actually my one weakness. I don't know how to take a compliment.
So I got you a present.
You got me a present.
It's a tin of It's a box of Maltesers.
Okay, so you
But
didn't
the problem
shell
was-
out for the tin.
Didn't want the tin.
Okay.
I mean, it's a very noisy. It's too noisy for a chocolate to give. That as a
That's
present.
fair. Not perfect
gave
for a
me a
movie
s-
setting.
You gave me an instrument, is what you gave me. You didn't
That's
give me
true.
chocolate, and I don't want an instrument. If you've got kids, imagine how that could be a nightmare.
Yeah.
Anyway, I got you this, but then I realised that you don't live here, so I'm gonna eat them.
Okay.
But
Sure.
just
Well,
and
I mean, I am going to be there in like 2 weeks' time. So you could just
I'll
leave
eat
them.
way before then. Eat them way before then.
Okay, well.
They might go out of date. They might go out of
Oh,
date.
yeah, what's the expiry date?
When's 20?
Because by law, it'll be printed onto all of the boxes. An expiry
It says
date.
April 2027.
Oh, no.
Wow, that's a
That
long
doesn't
lasting.
back up your argument at all.
No.
Oof. Awkward.
Well, let's just see what happens. How about that?
Okay, we'll see.
But I got them to say sorry for missing the last podcast. It's been a month. It's been like a whole month.
It's been actually a month.
Terrible.
Yeah. You don't owe me an apology. I've come to accept these sort of character flaws or failings, weaknesses, insensitivities, inconsiderations. This kind of stuff. From you, obviously. I'm still friends with you, so I've kind of, I've accepted them. Who you've really let down, I think,
is the fan.
Is yourself.
Okay, way worse.
So the fan, I mean, I think he does okay. He can probably make it through a month without hearing our silly voices. But you got to look yourself in the mirror, mate.
I don't really think that I do, but I do have something to say about this situation, and it's a positive thing. And it's that I really appreciate it. I'm 31 or so now.
You're about to say 34. Man. Why was there an F sound coming?
I feel like 34.
Okay.
Honestly. This last month has felt like 3 years. And I wanted to, I'm getting old. I want to be better. And I just really appreciated how you said, hey, Michael, you were so direct, and you're always this way, but you're so direct. You said, hey, I'd appreciate a little heads up if you know you got a thing. And this came down to me not being able to plan. I had like a lot of shit, but I don't really plan. I don't see my future more than, a couple of days. I don't look past that. But I just really appreciated how you were like, hey, I need this from you. And it's like, okay, cool. And whenever you and I have like a I don't know, like a
domestic
problem or something, a domestic, I like how we just sort our shit out very quickly. And it's coming from your end because you're a mature, genuine adult.
No, that's not true.
And I'm a child. Well, that's the dynamic, and that's a dynamic for a reason. But I just wanted to say that I appreciated us, dude. Just fucking us.
I love us, man.
Yeah, us is great.
No, I didn't expect such a heartfelt start to this episode. But
psych! I didn't mean.
Oh, you got me!
I didn't learn.
I was just
fucking
about
thing. Same old me.
I fell for the old MZ original.
Boom. When you think I've grown.
The number of people who messaged me and said, did you write that thing pretending to be Michael on the Facebook page claiming to have gone to a time management course?
People said that to me too.
That's thinking that I'd written it. They sent to you. Why did Nick write that?
Yeah.
Oh,
I think that means I did
stitched us both up
job.
somehow.
Hey, I was going down, and you just have to come in with me.
Yeah, that's fine. That's why we're a team.
We're a team, but yeah.
But you've been busy. You sound like there's been stuff.
Yeah. And on the other side of not being able to plan things is I actually can't remember any of the things that I've done.
Great. Well, that's going to really just shorten this intro.
I really just drift through life, just
You're like
things
jellyfish.
happen around me. They don't happen to me.
If it wasn't for sharks or other predators, you could technically live forever. But unfortunately, that box of Maltesers is calling for you and will be your downfall.
Yes, sir.
Welcome to Deep Fort, everybody. Gosh, it's nice to be back. It feels strange to say these words, but what a relief and an exciting moment. I've become a little bit sentimental, and I'd like to thank you all for being here in what's been quite a trialing month, for all of us. Some more than others.
Life.
This is a podcast. We talk about things sitting through the internet with me for the first time in 4 weeks. Michael Zabrecki, say hi.
Mickey Z, he's back.
He's back. He's wearing a cap, and he looks like Screech.
That's a haiku, is what we call that.
It is. And I'm Nick. Hi, Nick. Hi.
What do you feel about the Mickey Z and Nicky Needs to Pee kind of name?
Okay, interesting. It's
do you
got
dig
a little
it?
bit of a
I've been trialing it on the Instagram, and I think it could be a thing.
I don't read those posts. I mostly use Instagram just for pornography. So it's just a little bit tame.
Me too.
A little bit tame. So maybe we should change our branding then, if that's all that we're using it for.
We could just ease into it.
We ease, sure.
Take it slow.
But I do like the idea of the sort of radio shock jock kind of vibe to this show. A bit of a soundboard, some farts. We could really liven up some of the more heady discussions. So I'm open to it.
If I knew I was allowed to fart on this would have been a very different podcast from the start.
There is a lot that I do have to cut out of this show every week. So
I think burps are funny. In a podcast, a burp is funny because it's not an offensive sound. It's quite a warm sound, and also it's funny.
Okay. Well, we'll see what the audience thinks. You must remember some of the things that have been occupying the last month. You had visitors, you had work, you had...
Visitors? Who are the visitors?
Someone was living with you, right? Emma's sister or something?
Emma's sister. Oh, yeah, so maybe I've got one story. Is that you were prompting me for a story there? Or?
Well, I just thought that we might want to recap things. I don't really have a specific topic for this one. I just thought it was going to be a catch-up, but I've got a whole bunch of newsy, sciencey little bits if we need them.
Great. Cool. Well, how about I tell you about... Well, so Emma had her birthday yesterday, maybe? No, 2 days ago.
2 days.
Big 3-0. Okay, so she had like a little drinks thing, and then her sister came down to stay with us. And then tomorrow we're going to stay by the beach for a few days. It's been a whole week of Emma's birthday, which is fine.
Okay.
You know?
You accidentally Seinfelded then, so that suggests that there's perhaps some undercurrent of...
No. I mean, a week.
It's fine. It's a week.
It's fine. It was more to lead me into this, which is that. So I got her a big 30th birthday. I got her a ring, right? Okay, so this is the problem.
Okay.
All right, so I had this on the Friday. I had this discussion with a couple of my work pals, and they said, "What'd you get Emma for your birthday?" I said, "A ring," and they went, "Oh, what are you doing?" And I was like, "Come on, no way! Like this is not a problem." And they were like, insisting that it was a problem.
Yeah.
They're like, "You don't get no girl a ring on her 30th birthday. Okay, she gonna think you get married."
Who do you work with?
This voice. So yeah, but it was like middle-aged women. There was some middle-aged women in there that were like absolutely 45 to 55.
Yeah.
Anyway,
they know this territory well.
They think that they do. I think this is my thought, that they come from even that one generation, the 30 to 35. I reckon there's lots changed.
Sure.
So they were telling me that I need to basically get her another present, and they were being like serious. Didn't do it. Got her a ring. It was a nice gold ring. Nothing like no emerald or diamond.
No thought into it. No romance. Yeah.
It'd be super weird if I just proposed. It would be so weird.
Yes.
And anyway, Emma loved the ring and everything, but and I told her that I had this discussion with people at work. She was like, "What? No way. I would never want to marry you." Are you serious? And I was like, "Cool. So we're on the same page." That's good. She was like, "Oh my god, could you imagine?" And I was like, "That's enough." Okay,
yeah,
I get it. And then I cried.
Yeah. Speaking of, how is your visa situation with her? Is she able to stay in the country as your partner?
Don't know.
Nothing ever came of that.
No, it's been sent off, but I don't know what the time frame is. Whether it's 6 months to a year.
I feel like I did that
2 months,
like 18 months ago.
Yep, and then they had to do a second round one, like a couple of months ago.
Oh, okay.
So many rounds. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize you'd had it back and had further rounds and things.
It's progressed.
Okay, that's good.
But you have because it takes so long to do it. You have to like keep reaffirming because
weird.
a lot can change in 4 years. Like,
Yeah.
how about you speed up the system?
Yeah. 4 years?
No. Yeah, I think it's been that long.
4 years. Oh, of you two.
Maybe.
Yeah. Not for the process.
No, the process.
The process has taken 4 years to
Maybe
get a
3,
visa.
maybe 2.
Okay. Well,
Just chopped it in half there.
you did. Okay, that's all right. Well, the good news is I'm glad that Emma liked the ring and is not engaged to you. The bad news is I'm sorry that broke your heart in the process. And you discovered something about yourself you didn't know you wanted.
No. Quite the opposite is true. I just really have no desire to get married at all. Do you?
Yeah, right. Yeah, I think I do. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
I think because it's more of a fuck you. Like, for you, it'd be kind of like a bland... Well, it's two white people, you know, like you're at a wedding.
Me not getting married is the fuck you.
That's the fuck you, right? Like, for you, it's just like, oh, okay, yeah, you know, I've been to a wedding before. For me, it's a little bit more like, this is new, this is interesting, this is fun, this is where all the cool people are hanging out. You know, we got different races here. It's a little bit fancy.
So you think the cool people are straight people?
No.
Because that's what you heavily implied.
Wait, why?
Because you said, I want to hang out here because this is where all the cool people hang out.
You're not coming to my wedding. It's all gay people at my wedding.
What?
It's gays only.
I could be gay. I could act gay. No offense. I mean, it would be offensive to watch. Definitely,
It would be offensive.
But I don't mean any offense by making even
No,
that
of
silly
course.
joke.
Yes, I understand the distinction.
But I could camp it up. If you wanted.
You could have like a classic 80s movie scene where you had to impress the bouncer to get through the door, and you could really, really get there. And then there'd be this beat where it's like, did he buy it? Did he not buy it? And then he'd be like, come on in, mate. Go some dicks in there.
I love it.
Yeah.
This is a movie, dude.
This is a movie, dude.
So you want to get married? Cool. As a fuck you. I get that.
Well, not as a fuck you, as a testimony of love and, you know, connection and things, but also like it feels cool that it's an option now.
Yeah. Well, that's why I was waiting to.
You're so used to rights that you just can't be bothered taking advantage of them any of them more.
Take it from me. Rights are boring and stupid.
Rights
sometimes.
are boring. I'm so
Rights
sick of
suck.
getting everything that I wanted.
Look, rights. Look, let me tell you something about being a straight white male, Nick. Rights aren't all they're cracked up to be.
Is that right?
With rights come responsibility, mate. I don't know if you don't know that being a minority your whole life, but it's actually not what it's cracked out to be. Okay.
I like to think of myself as a majority minority because
you are.
Well, I'm probably a minority
you're still
minority.
male.
Yeah.
Wait, so it's still white.
But guys, I've got some news. I'm not white.
But you ain't white.
Yeah, no, 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Yep, doing well.
Yeah.
Do you have any stories?
Yeah, what did I do in this past month? I had a bit of work
You went for a hike.
Yeah, we climbed a mountain. Climbed an actual mountain
cool.
last weekend over the Easter break. I mean, it's not the tallest mountain in the world, but it was one that was real, and that's pretty cool. So we drove out of town a little bit down to the sort of southern ranges here on the South Island of New Zealand, and did a hike up a place called the Peel Forest up to this summit, which was about 950 meters of altitude gained. And we did that over the course of a few hours and then struggled back down again. But it was...
I'm impressed by how fit you're getting. You said last episode, I think, that you're a gym bro now. And then you're sending me pics of your legs at the gym saying you're leg benching 120 Ks. Jeez.
Didn't send pictures. But yeah, that was true. Yeah, 125. Yeah.
That's... I tried to do 80 after you told me that. And I was like, I'm gonna end up on YouTube. I'm gonna go viral if I keep doing this. I couldn't do it.
That should have incentivized you. It should have been like, well, YouTube is its own reward.
Have you seen? Yes, but have you seen those videos? Maybe you don't seek the shit out of like guys doing that leg press. So I'll just fucking do it.
Yeah.
Doing this leg press,
Yeah.
and then the weight just goes, and then the leg fucking shoots out of their
No, I haven't
thigh
watched.
and-
No, I haven't watched that because I do not want to watch that, and I don't like the idea of that. No.
horrifying.
Yeah, it is horrifying.
Well,
Thankfully,
I sorted
my
it
legs
out,
don't
and
do
now
that.
That's what I think every time. Not even every time I do a leg press. Every time I walk in the gym, that's
Yeah.
what I think. This is full of danger.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of heavy things there. That's kind of one of the rules, is that there are heavy bits in, and there's that's scary. You know, there's things you don't want to be the person who lifts heavy things and then drops it on things. No.
And not only just that, the guys that are in there, like there's some of the scariest guys in the city are probably there because
No.
bikies need to work out. Guys who just gotten out of prison need to maintain that prison bond.
This is just prejudice. All you need to do, and I swear, next time you're in the gym, just do this. It'll put you completely at ease. All you have to do is go up to them and tickle them under the arm. Just give them a little bit of a kuchik.
Does that work?
And then they'll start to giggle and you'll start to giggle and it'll just completely remove the tension in the room. And they'll say, hey man, you know, do you need a spot or whatever?
And you've tried that and that works?
Yeah, that's my go-to. Sometimes it takes you in other directions as well, but that, you know, you can navigate that as you need.
Most of the time it works.
Most of the time it works, yeah.
Do you usually use a feather or just...
Yeah. Yeah. Normally a feather. Sometimes like a cat toy, you know, like one of those things where you drag like in front of a kitten. Like a laser pointer sometimes as well. Just anything to sort of get their attention.
Yeah, one of those things, but with like a 90s picture of Pamela Anderson on there. So they really go for it. Dude,
Yeah.
at one point, I just remember this is so funny. At one point, I decided that I wanted to put up a poster in my locker. I would have been in year 6. And it's the
Wow.
lamest thing ever. I just got one of my mum's new ideas, cut out
Wow.
a picture of Pamela Anderson. And even back then, by the way, this is like, she's past her prime career.
Oh, wow.
And I got it out and I laid it out on the table. And my mum said, what the fuck are you doing? And I said, I just was honest with her. I thought it wouldn't be something I got in trouble for.
Yeah.
And I just said, I'm just getting some like art for my locker. And she said, there is no way. And I remember her being angry, she like slapped me. Anyway.
Wow.
I wasn't even attracted to Pamela Anderson. She was like 50 then.
Right.
I would have been 14 and she would have been 60. And I just wanted I wanted other guys to see and say, wow, this guy's badass. Dude, this guy is a certified badass.
So that's why you're into mum slapping you. Oh, it all makes sense.
There it is.
There it is.
What are we talking about? We're talking about you hiking, I think.
Yeah, it went hiking, gym, legs, bros, lockers, Pamela Anderson.
Love it.
Yeah, so we did a
What a
hike.
pod. Great story, Nick. Great story.
Yeah,
I'd love
I mean,
to
it
hear
was
the
bloody
edited
hard. I
version.
was proud that we did it.
Yeah, you guys hike a lot. Like, I'm impressed.
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah, this
you
was
always
the,
send me
the
photos.
the biggest tramp, as they call it, that I've ever done.
Nice.
Yeah. But you've been getting away a little bit, haven't you? I keep seeing pictures of you in beaches and places. Where are you going this weekend?
This weekend we're going to the Mornington Peninsula and just with maybe like 8 other friends and just having a time at the beach, 2 nights.
Oh, lovely. And is this the Emma party angle, or is this
Yeah.
just a get together? No, it is.
Yeah,
8 people.
8 people, nice and light. But yeah, should be fun.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Well, if you've enjoyed this kind of thing, then I suppose
What? No. I have no concept of time. Wait, I've got so many things. I've got
Yeah,
so many
okay.
things.
No, that was for comedic purposes. It was just a natural lull.
I'm conscious of doing talking too much.
You feel like you're not talking enough, or
I
too much?
I felt like that the last one. I think I can hog sometimes.
Yeah, I think most people would probably say I hog more than you do, so I wouldn't be too worried.
I thought I was wondering this the other day. Who do you reckon is is everyone's favorite? Do you reckon you've got? Do you think you're everyone? I think more people agree with you, but
Maybe, but you know
like
more
me.
of our listenership.
Don't bring that on me.
No, I'm saying that's a good
Don't
thing. You're
spin it
like
around.
no, I'm not spitting at the back. I'm saying that you have actively invited so many people to listen along, and they have, versus my friends over here, which have decided that they don't want to.
I like that because that implies that they've just very
They
politely
sampled.
gone up to you and said, "Hi Nick, just letting you know, stop listening to podcasts because it was rubbish, to be honest,
Yeah.
and boring."
Yeah, I did.
And yeah, and
didn't
that
want
other
to.
guy, he's got very problematic views, and that's just not for us. But thanks for the tip. Bye.
Yeah. And I'll just give you back the phone I was using. Thank you for lending it to me with the archive of all the previous episodes. And I guess we'll just check it back into the library.
Do you remember how last month, the last episode, we talked about Thomas Middleditch
Yeah.
and how
And I said he was
is
polyamorous
exactly
and
like
a sex
you.
freak. Yeah.
And you said that, and then he got cancelled.
Yeah, he
So then I'm thinking, we obviously have a power. So who do we want to cancel this week?
Okay, so it's the weekly cancel show.
You get to cancel anyone you want.
Oh, this is a power that I'm not sure should be used flippantly. I mean, the first instinct is to be really contrarian and be like Tom Hanks. You know, if we really want to prove let's go
That
hard.
would be an interesting cancel.
And then you'd be
That would
like,
an interesting
okay,
cancel.
okay, we do have a power now because Tom Hanks is beloved. If we can bring him down, that's
Beloved.
we'd be the only people in the world campaigning to get rid of Tom Hanks. So we'd definitely be the ones that did it.
Here's the problem. I love Tom Hanks so
I love
much.
Tom Hanks. I know. That's the problem. You know what? I love
about-
Tom Hanks so
Ooh.
much that I love Colin Hanks a lot. I'm a big Colin Hanks guy. And
Now, do you like the other
osmosis.
Hanks who's
No.
doing the
I mean,
South African stuff? Because he's a very
no one loves the
interesting
second
young
son
Hanks.
as much. Yeah. The other
The
Hanks.
second son is very weird.
He's off in a
Very
different
weird.
He's in a different sphere. He doesn't even look that Hanksy.
No, he's an interesting guy.
Yeah.
And that- I don't
strange
think I mean
font
that as a
choices. Yeah.
Sure. Here's one I think you'd love
Okay.
on some level.
Okay.
A Ricky Gervais.
That would be interesting. That would be interesting, but I don't think that he
Cancel
would
Ricky.
take a cancelling it wouldn't make any difference to him.
Well, this is what's happening with a lot of these guys who's been cancelled, and by that I mean like Chris D'Elia, Brian Callen, Louis, I guess. Those first two guys, D'Elia and Brian Callen, they both are just
I don't
starting
really
to
know
do their
either
own.
of them very well. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Some of my friends will. They're like comedians, and they've just come back onto their podcasts. You know, their listenership is still there. They're just doing it on Patreon.
Yeah, right. So
Yeah,
that
so they're just, like,
I think
charging
with
us.
Ricky
So,
Gervais as well, whose brand is sort of I'll say the thing which is, that people don't want to say. He's kind of got a toe in those waters already, and I think that there would be some
nothing he
people.
could say could cancel him. I don't think.
It would
have
be
to be a
it would be
sexual-
behavior. Yeah, it wouldn't be something.
But
he
I don't
said.
see him doing anything. He's
No.
not a sexual man.
No. it would be interesting conceptually, I think, to see how he responded to it if there was allegations or something made. I mean, the interesting one that I was thinking of the other day was Chris Hardwick, who I take it is still out there, still making podcasts. I haven't really checked to see who he's getting on there or anything, but he's still like hosting game shows and that sort of thing. But it very much feels like he disappeared out of the sphere. Like he's
I
in a
stopped
different
listening
world.
to his podcast. Yeah, I stopped listening to his podcast, and then I kept his new one on my like pod thing. So every now and then I'll see like the banner notification, and he looks like he's not getting like great guests, but he's getting some friends who obviously want to stand by him or something. So he's got some big names on there, but nothing like what was the last one? I really liked the last one.
Nerdist before it was Idiot.
Nerdist.
Yeah. Because he had the two offsiders, and they have like not been. They haven't said anything about him. They just quit the show when all that came out, and they didn't ever go back. And that to me, I think, was the most like suggestive behavior of it all, because they didn't stick by him and they didn't reemerge when it all, settled down a bit. They just
that's what
they were out.
That's what I liked about that podcast, which is that they would get together once a year or whatever and really talk and have like the fight out on air, which is that's the best thing for me. Like I just think that's the greatest.
Yeah.
But then they talked openly about how he was kind of a bit of a brute.
Well, that's the thing. I feel like in retrospect, it was something that they sort of suggested he liked to do more than they liked to do. And it was, I don't know, something that fed into that personality of control, freakiness, or star fucking, or like arrogance or whatever, that sort of saw him as more important than them, Jonah and Matt. Yeah. But it's been a while since I really followed up on that. Sorry, can you just give me 1 second?
Sure, dude. Sending an email?
It's my trainer trying to book me in for tomorrow morning.
So are you sticking to your regular thing? Are you sticking to your whatever you're doing? What, 3 times a week?
Yeah, 3 times a week.
Nice, dude. You got a little smile on your face then. Did you sense a little winky face? Did you?
Send a little bit of a dick pic.
Yeah?
Yeah, he likes to see progress in that regard as well.
He's training your dick?
Because it's...
Dick trainer?
It's going to be 9 a.m. tomorrow, and I'm not awake at 9 a.m. and I was just not looking forward to
it. You're not? Okay. And that you're just like, hey, I'm not looking forward to tomorrow.
Yeah. I said I would do my best. But you might have to...
Isn't that the point of a personal trainer, that he just like beats down the door and says, you're fucking doing it, man?
No, that's a very outdated style of encouragement. It's all about, we just talk about, the good stuff. Joe Rogan, the problems with the communist China, just sort of more intellectual stuff to get the brain going, and then the body follows, Is
that right?
Yeah.
What religion is he, your trainer?
I don't know, actually.
Get back to me on that.
He does wear a burqa.
Right.
But I don't want to make any conclusions.
I bet it's hot in there when you're training.
It is hot in there.
Oh, you're in there. I laughed at that. Like, I was watching it on TV. I was like, oh, yes.
That guy on the screen said something.
Comedy, dude.
Comedy.
Ooh.
Oh.
So,
he is pretty hot there.
Is your trainer hot?
He's pretty hot, yeah.
Don't let Casey hear this.
He knows. I send photos.
He knows. That's a recipe for disaster, Nick.
Is it?
That's a recipe. It's a recipe for disaster.
Is it?
Yes, it is.
Well, is it?
Oh, okay. I see where you're going.
Is it?
Oh.
Or
okay.
is it?
Oh.
No, it would be, because he does have a girlfriend. So that's pretty serious.
Yeah,
Or
that must be
is
weird.
it?
Just like you like.
Because
You-
KC's
you are-
bisexual.
You are. Oh, I never thought about
Is
this.
it?
Oh, I see where you're going.
Or is it?
But you're attracted to people who are not attracted to you a lot. That was bad. But it's like a lot of like you're attracted to guys, and only 10% of guys are gay. So that must be tough. That must be weird.
Yeah, we have talked about this years ago. But yeah, remember back in the days when it was like we were talking about the odds of it all, like just the odds of being a gay person meeting another gay person and getting along, and how that's just so much smaller chances than straight people meeting and getting along, just on a pure numbers game. But yeah, so a lot of you're totally right. A lot of the guys that you walk past on the street and you're like, oh, that's a nice looking guy. Absolutely no chance that they'll be into you.
Yeah. And is that why do you think Casey just settled for you? Maybe.
Yeah. Well, I mean, arguably, he has like twice the playing
he's got
field.
the most.
Yeah.
What am I talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, that must be terrible as well. I think too much choice is always a bad thing.
Yeah, we do know that oversupply of things just makes choices harder.
Just cheapens everyone, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I was going to tell you that I have I've made inroads into seeing a therapist.
Oh, what's brought that about?
A couple of things. I'll say one of them, which is that I just feel like sometimes I really struggle to focus. You know this, it isn't anyone, but I just feel that when people are talking, I just don't even know what they've said, and I don't know if everyone has this, but I am starting to feel now that I have it more than other people. Like
Sure.
I can't follow, especially when people are talking about like events and how events might unfold, which I kind of need for work. Like I'm just like, what? Like it's not like tuning out, but it's like focusing on what on the fact that I can't focus.
Information
it's like this weird loop.
retention, like receiving information.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, decided to like. It's a bit of a process. Apparently, you can get 20-something sessions each year, but now with COVID.
Yeah.
But you have to ring up the doctor, basically say, I guess what you would say to the psychologist, and then she's just like, maybe I'll refer you, maybe I won't.
You're right.
Like,
but is this a doc? Like, ideally, you'd be calling up your GP, right? Who does know you, and it's not it's not like a cold call to from a vacuum cleaner salesman.
My GP seen me twice, and they were both in the same week. I don't have a GP. I haven't gone to the doctor until I broke my rib.
Yeah, right.
So then she's like, okay, fill out this ADD test. Well, she didn't call it an ADD test. She was like, fill out this test. I'm like, it's like something you'd do. I think you have done.
It's actually something I explicitly did do on the podcast without telling you, was ask you all the questions and then fill you out and tell you that it seemed like you had a strong likelihood of being ADHD. Yeah.
Yeah. And let me tell you, it felt good to just really just pass a test with flying colours. It felt really good. It was like, I'm nailing this.
Yeah.
I know exactly where this is going. And
I've done it before.
I genuinely did fly through that test. It was like, whoop, whoop, whoop.
First thing you focused on all day.
Yeah. The problem was it took me 8 hours to finish 10 questions. But I said that thing back to her, and then she sends me a list of psychologists. And I just have to pick one, and they all seem booked out. It's weird picking out like a psychologist or a therapist, because they all have their blurb, and they're like, I specialize in women's rights and whatever.
LGBT
and you're like,
issues.
okay, well, I don't know if they're just like that's what they're putting on their thing. So I pick out like because that's what I'm meant to do. If you're writing a blurb saying what you specialize in, like I'm meant to find me in the blurb and go, okay, well that sounds like me, which is silly.
Or
Because none of them are going to say straight white male. I specialize in straight white male, unless Jordan Peterson's moved to fucking Melbourne. But what's your experience been with choosing a therapist and all that weird shit?
well, but yeah, I'll talk about that in a second. But like, just to tie it up, have you picked someone now? Are you waiting, or are you still deliberating?
I'm still deliberating because there's all these things like I don't know if I want a man or a woman, and like that's very important. I think I will behave differently around a man and a woman. Which is that silly? I think we all behave differently around the opposite gender or with the same. Gender matters, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
In how you act.
Yeah. My honest opinion is that it's probably better to pick anyone sooner rather than pick someone later, because A, the waiting times take ages, but B, chances are you'll have a couple of sessions with this person, be like, you know what, we're just not on the same wavelength. And that's not any fault of either of you. It's just like you need to find a hairdresser. You need to find someone who gets what you want and who you can speak to in a certain way, who they can then listen to and feed back to you in a certain way so that you don't get whatever's happening on your head right now. That is the dynamic. And the faster you get into one and try it, and then you're like, okay, yeah, I think this is right, or I think I need to try someone else, the better.
Great advice, Nick. That's great. Then, okay, yeah, that's what I'll do.
I think you should probably pick a guy to get started with as well. I think that the fact that you even brought it up suggests that you should just pick a guy. It doesn't, like, there's not a sexist aspect of it, in the same way that going to your GP, you might prefer a male GP. In the same way, going to the sex health clinic, you want a guy there. Just speak to a guy, you know.
I want a guy when I'm complaining that Emma doesn't do the dishes. I want a guy that like says, "Hey man, that's woman's work," instead of like getting like the stink eye from a female psychologist saying
someone living in
I'm a
this
piece
century,
of shit just because I think that Emma should do the dishes because she's a woman.
Yeah, I mean, it might take a few attempts to find the right fit for you. It sounds like, but you just gotta keep trying. I can't remember because I've only been to one psychologist or counselor. I can't even remember the qualifications, but it was, I think, 2013, coming back from the my overseas trip where I had my heart stuff and all the anxiety and everything was playing up, and I honestly don't remember why I ended up at that person. Maybe because it was one of the sooner options, maybe because it was referred via the GP and that was just someone that he knew. I can't even remember the system that it was all incorporated in at that time. I don't think the NDIS existed. I don't think there was definitely not this COVID related 20 sessions or whatever it's now at. So yeah, I don't even remember the process that it went through for it.
Right.
But I feel like it was, because it wasn't even convenient. It was out in Marion. Like it wasn't nearby or anything. So it must have just been either a timing or a connection thing where they just knew the person.
Okay.
But yeah, I didn't get a list and I didn't get to choose. And maybe, to be honest, maybe if I'd felt like he was pretty decent, and he did help in terms of giving psychological, a couple of psychological processes to identify panic attacks and how to sort of understand them from like a scientific perspective, which was helpful. It wasn't super practical in a way that perhaps I needed. And in a way that something like mindfulness, sort of self-awareness, has helped much more with me being able to identify, oh, you're being anxious. This is just anxiety talking. Ignore this. This is your dumb brain. That's been much more practically useful than I think anything I learned in that moment. But at the same time, he did do enough to sort of get me over that hurdle. But if I had perhaps connected with him a bit better, or seen a different person, maybe I would have gone for a bit longer and got something else out of it. Who knows?
Yeah, I think it'll just be interesting to try and get a explanation as to how your brain is working, at least to some degree.
Yeah.
Like that is interesting. Like you're this is repetitive, or this is patterned behavior, or you're getting into. I've been reading up about this attachment theory lots. Have you heard about attachment theory?
No, I don't know that I have.
It's the theory that some people come in like vaguely three different types. One is secure, one is avoidant, and the other is anxious. And secure people basically have their shit together. They got love enough when they were a child. Avoidant are people that didn't get the right type of they didn't get the love or the attention that they needed when they were kids in the first 2 or 3 years of life, and it's kind of manifested in not wanting to get too close to people, or when people do get close, they kind of push them away, and they avoid things, and that kind of shit. And then anxious is people who are basically clingy or needy. And they're labeled as anchors is the secure, and island is avoidant, and waves are anxious, and often you'll get waves crashing into islands a lot, if you catch my drift. But it's an interesting theory, and it's interesting to go down that rabbit hole, and in the context of, okay, I'm going to seek out someone to try and open up my brain, or at least try and read my brain, and then tell me, ways to make that process a little smoother on the day-to-day level.
Yeah, to see what hurdles you're encountering, to get an idea of how your brain's operating, and then suggest where you might be able to get over the hurdles better.
Totally. And I don't feel like I am in any sort of. I feel quite happy,
Yeah.
So and
Well, that's
more
the perfect
settled
time
and
to do this
content that
kind
I.
of stuff. Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. Like I've never felt more settled in my life, or more content or happy. So that's a good time. Like I don't need to do this. There's no problem that's causing my life any stress.
Yeah.
But there's always something.
Well, that's exciting though. That's good. That's good to hear that you're in such a contented place.
Yeah, you know how I could tell that I'm like fine with myself, or I'm happy? I thought this the other day. When I can smoke a joint and I don't get really anxious, and I don't have all those, because usually in my 20s, when I smoked even a little bit of a joint, I'd have all of everything that I needed to worry about would just come up to my mind, and I'd feel anxious about it, and I'd stress, and I'd feel overwhelmed every time.
Yeah.
And when I had certain periods where financially I was fine, I was happy in the relationship, things were going well, I recall being able to smoke a joint, and those things wouldn't come up. I'd be able to at least manage them quite well.
Yeah.
So that's how I kept a barometer that way.
Yeah. That's been your substitute psychologist. So did the GP say, oh yes, this looks like it could be ADHD, or did they just take the form and go, so here are some names you might want to speak to?
She hasn't gotten back to me yet.
Okay.
And no, so I spoke to her on the phone for like half an hour, and she said on that call, she said, by the sound of what you've told me on the phone, that seems like, we should probably at least investigate it. So she hasn't responded on the pop quiz that I nailed.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll pursue it, and I'll keep you posted.
Which Disney
how
villain
it's going. Yeah, that actually could maybe work.
Yeah. Sorry, what did you say to me? You'll keep me posted.
Yeah, I'll keep you posted with all that stuff.
Yeah.
Hopefully by next time I have a shrink, and then we'll get her on the pod.
Yeah, perfect.
Or him.
Or him. You know, shrinks aren't just women, Michael. These days, even a man can be a psychologist.
So you must have a story. You must have something must have happened over the last month of note. Your parents giving you thumbs up. The innocuous thumbs up on Facebook.
I mean,
fucking hate that.
I think we all relate to writing a message in the family chat, whether it's a text, like a group text or a Facebook or something, and then getting just the dismissive, hurtful, single automated button press thumbs up response. Where you're like, well, I asked a question and you've just given a thumbs up. Or I've told you that someone died and you've just given a thumbs up, which did happen this week. Not someone that I knew, but still, you know, I think we've given our parents too much power and we need to start taking it away from them again.
It's like I think it's just because they've just gotten on Facebook and they haven't learnt manners yet.
Yeah, they're still learning the rules of the old World Wide Web.
Here's a trick, parents of ours and parents abroad. Think about it as if it was happening in real life. Hey, Nick, your cousin's just died. Okay? Doesn't work.
Yeah,
right? It's dismissive.
For the listener, I just did a thumbs up. It doesn't feel good to get a thumbs up, a real sarcastic thumbs up when you're telling some heartfelt news.
It always feels sarcastic. A thumb always feels sarcastic.
Let me tell you some real devastating news, and then Michael, you can model an appropriate reaction, right? A little bit more empathetic.
Okay.
Or
this would be good for my autism as well. I think I have that too.
Okay. Oh, that's what I was going to say. Great job. We'll talk about autism in a second. Okay, here we go.
We're meant to be, dude. This is why. You and me forever, baby.
Michael, I've got some bad news.
Oh, God. What is it?
You know Selling Houses Australia?
What?
Charlie and Shayna aren't coming back for season 14.
No. You're lying. You're lying.
I'm sorry.
Charlotte?
Charlie was announced at the end of last season. He's going.
I fucking hate
to
Charlie.
Gardening Australia. But Shayna just happened last week.
Why would you fucking tell me that? I'm about to get married. I'm literally about to get married.
I didn't want you to live a lie. You were standing in the garden where it happened.
What?
This is where they called it quits. After that tree maimed the property owner, they were forced off the show.
What?
You're my sister. I couldn't.
What?
I couldn't.
Are you lying?
What was that? What was that?
Are you fucking lying? What? I'm your sister.
Yeah, that was just a way of leading in to say I did a 23andMe and we're related. We're related, Mikey. But here's the thing. Here's the thing.
Knew it.
Please don't celebrate.
I knew it.
Because I've got some bad news.
Oh my God. Can you just...
I don't think that we should get married anymore.
Well, I think you're wrong, mister. And I think we should get married. And I think just because we're sister and sister doesn't mean we shouldn't get married. If anything, it means we should get married. We already love each other.
It's the deepest love I know.
And it will be the deepest love You know.
Okay, you didn't have to end this sketch so
Wait,
so
we're
gross.
sisters. I forgot we're sisters. So that's gonna be a deep scissor.
Oh my god. Jesus Christ. Michael. So what we're saying is, to all the parents listening, that's the way you should react on Facebook Messenger. Autism. Did you see this week Josh Thomas's, Josh Thomas, Please Like Me, the creator of the 4-season comedy series Please Like Me, and Everything's Gonna Be Okay, his American, more recent series. He had
I know Josh.
He had an article and coverage this week because the second season of that show, which is good and I recommend, is about to debut, in which he discusses the fact that he discovered recently that he was autistic. And this show, Everything Is Going to Be Okay, is as he wrote and he explored and got into, and stars, both as a character and an actor, a young kid with autism. And after going through that process and doing putting a lot of effort into making sure that it was a authentic and worthwhile depiction of neurodiverse people, he then started to have people message him on social media and follow up after the show had debuted and say, hey, is your character meant to be on the spectrum? Because you're acting like you might have autism as well. And he was like, no, that's just me. I'm just playing me in the show.
Wait,
and then
just fans?
This is fans who'd viewed the show and were reading the show as if his character had autism. And then he started to look into it and he started to speak to some of the advisors that they'd had on the show and the other support network there, and has since been diagnosed as actually having autism, which he only discovered as a result of going through this process.
That's incredible.
It's amazing, eh?
Imagine getting diagnosed by your fans. Imagine having fans.
Well, I mean, those are two very difficult things, aren't they? But yeah, the process of being interested in a thing that turned out to be yourself. And now I believe, I haven't seen this season, of course, because it hasn't come out, but I believe they're writing into the show the fact that the character in the show discovers that he might be autistic because his sister in the show has autism, and then they start to notice it in him, which is something that came about only because he, the actor, was doing this and playing and writing it as himself.
The sister already has autism in the show.
Correct, yeah. So he'd written a show about a kid with autism, and then that's why they had all this support network of autistic experts around the production. And then when it aired, viewers were looking at his character and saying, hey, do you have autism? Is this meant to be, are you implying? Because these behaviors you're depicting are, potentially on the spectrum. And then he was like, no, I just wrote the things that I do and would say. And then, it turns out there was a reason for that.
Is he like on the spectrum? Where is he? Is he on the?
I don't know that you can really characterize it by. You can't be like, oh, he's 87%. I think he's just somewhere. I think
they do that. They do put them on the spectrum, though, don't they?
Well, I don't know that there's. What are you wanting to hear? He's like further than Asperger's, but not quite. I don't know. I just don't think that it's not a binary thing. It's just a series of behaviors and mannerisms and that sort of thing, right? It's a big gooey cloud of behavior traits, right?
I watched a show called a 3-part doco called Expecting Amy, which is Amy Schumer having her child, basically her whole pregnancy, and it was so unbelievably good. Like, I couldn't believe it was weirdly good. And in that, her husband as well, he starts doing things like if she would fall over, he would just like not react at all empathetically. Like, I think that's one of the traits. It's kind of like potentially a lack of empathy. And he gets diagnosed out of nowhere throughout the course of this 3-part docuseries as well. So
As having
weird.
autism.
As having autism, and just seeing them like, it's like as a guy, a highly functioning guy, going, this is not even something I've even ever thought about. And now I'm like, some doctors just saying, oh yeah, you're autistic. And just be like, whoa.
Yeah, I think that, well, I mean, this area of I don't know, the mental health sphere is one that has some controversies attached with it, because it is so hard to define. And, you know, one valid question is, are we just more aware of what to look for and what to call it these days, so that we're able to point to more people, or it's the prevalences of actual cases in the community? Cases is the wrong word. Amount of instances in the community actually now increasing. But you do wonder whether it's just like, okay, we're all better at identifying mental health stuff now, and that's a good thing.
Yeah.
And you're now able to help people who need help, or whether it is we've now narrowed whatever the term of normal behavior is meant to be, to like a defined space, a harder space, and people outside of that maybe would have previously been called normal and lived their whole life as neurotypical people are now sort of being framed elsewhere. I don't, you know.
Well, that's the interesting thing, because it's interesting when you do get a diagnosis like that, and you are, a functioning person, that the stigma, like, it's weird having the label, which is both could serve as a stigma but also a scapegoat. Like, if I'm thinking in terms of myself.
Yeah.
I don't mean that autistic people are using their diagnosis.
No, I don't think anyone took it this way, though.
I mean, like, I feel like if me seeking out this ADHD diagnosis, or at least investigating it, if I got it, I feel like I might start to, even just in my own mind, just start to say, oh, I didn't do this, but that's because I can't focus on things. I might start to give myself excuses.
Yeah, but there's a difference between giving excuses, which, I don't know, maybe there's a thing that could happen, but it could also be showing forgiveness to yourself, right?
Yeah, I guess so. And that's not something I'm very well trained in.
Just as a way of being like, oh, why did I forget that thing, or why can't I focus on what this person's saying, or whatever. If you were, able to say, oh, that's right, because my brain chemistry is set up in a way that I find it difficult to retain this information, then perhaps that's a more straightforward, healthy step towards moving on towards asking the thing again, or getting the solution, or whatever it is.
Yeah, good point. I genuinely didn't even think about it like that at all.
Well, I suppose it's still early days. Yeah. So I guess it'll be interesting to see. The other interesting thing about the Josh Thomas thing with Everything Is Going to Be Okay is that he previously worked with and had contributed to his shows Hannah Gadsby, who is also famously a comedian with autism. So just interesting to see that they sort of had gravitated towards each other, even if they didn't necessarily realize exactly why they had potentially bonded.
Oh, that's nice.
Anyway, I'm excited for you to seek out some consultation and explore this side of yourself a little bit, and thank you for telling me.
Yeah, hopefully I do it sooner rather than later.
There'll be a waiting period, I'm sure.
Rather than.
Getting into the rhythm. Getting into the rhythm.
Later, rather than later. I just decided to remix the last part of my sentence.
Yeah, I think that's something you should bring up in the first session.
Yeah. Okay, you tell me where I'm going wrong, and I'm just going to live remix you with my mouth. You're gonna what?
What?
Oh, it makes me be a little bad. Do you have a science news? Or
I can do a little bit of the science news, yeah.
give me shove some science up my nostrils.
Okay, that went a different place than when I thought. And I'm
Of
grateful.
course you did, mate. Of course you did.
Well, we've been talking about going to the gym. Play the jingle?
It's that time. Time for science news.
Enjoying those vibes, enjoying the grooves, enjoying some nudes. So this is a bit of science news that came out in the past month. Actually it's not, but I'm going to ignore what the date on the article says. And I only discovered it recently. This is an article in the European Pharmaceutical Review. Pretty exciting bit of news. It is as follows. Novel HIV vaccine approach shows promise in landmark first-in-human trial. The vaccine was able to target the desired immune cells and could become the first stage of a multi-step vaccine strategy to combat HIV and various other viral diseases. So, a novel vaccine approach for the prevention of HIV has shown promise in phase 1 trials, according to the organizations who inspected. The vaccine successfully stimulated the production of the rare immune cells needed to generate antibodies against HIV in 97% of participants. This vaccine is... Oh, that's way more science than I need to read out. The amazing thing, which is the reason I bring it up, is that this approach is based on Moderna's COVID vaccine. And it's COVID tech acceleration that 1 year in which everyone spent suddenly focusing on viruses. This tech is already being now rolled out into different categories, different diseases and different viruses, and showing amazing returns, like a 97% antibody response rate in phase 1 human trials for an HIV vaccine is crazy. And they're saying that this kind of thing will also benefit stuff for cancer in the future as well. So I just thought it was an interesting launching off point to consider the potential global health benefits that COVID could bring about. If this minor little shockwave, well, that's very dismissive. If what has become a fairly low impact in a global and historical sense pandemic has enabled... If you compare the COVID, yes, it's had hundreds of thousands of deaths, all of which terrible and should not have happened. But on a global sense, in a global epidemic or pandemic sense, there have been more deadly and more disruptive viruses that have swept the earth previously. That's all I'm saying. Okay. So, and they're also still saying, there'll be a worse one coming. This is like a baby trial. This is us learning as humans whether we can do the things necessary to stop transmission and that sort of stuff.
Oh man.
Anyway, yeah, that's a thought that I don't really want to have at the moment. But if having this challenge, this sad and devastating and economically damaging and physically damaging and psychologically damaging year has led to a concerted scientific focus on one type of technology and with one medical application, and it's now been expanded to other diseases, then potentially having this kind of tech now, which could be applied to cancer or applied to HIV, the number of lives that it could save as a result of directly having the COVID crisis, it's kind of an interesting, sudden
benefit
value question, right? Like we didn't want this to happen, but out of the bad, there is now a potentially very big good, like a very big upside.
definitely. And I think there's going to be a lot of good that comes out in many different areas. Even just air travel's going to go down because people know that they don't for those meetings they don't need to be in person. They can do it quite effectively over the internet. So we're going to reduce the pollution effect, or people will just come out as soon as it's over and just go extra hard and just ruin everything.
It's possible, but I think there will be changes, like you say, even if it's just the flexibility of work from home life, not in a way that everyone loved working from home, but in I'm sick today, I'm not going to go into the office. That is a manifestly better situation if people are more reasonable about, either work from home if you feel like it or don't, because we can all cope with it.
Don't you think gone are the days of I'm a bit sick, but I'll just soldier on. Like, that's not going to be a thing anymore. Like, you're sick, get the fuck home.
Yeah,
you know?
I hope so. Yeah, I think there'll be some industries in which that doesn't fully take over. I think there'll still be like those residual skeptics or like, fucking tough up, you pussy. Get into the office or you won't have a job on Monday. Like there'll still be some of that crap.
It will. I think it will decline.
I think you're right.
I think people are more conscious of the stuff that comes out of other people now. We've all seen the news. We've all seen those graphics that like show the person on 2D on the side spraying all the thing. Everyone's seen that now.
Yeah.
So, wearing a mask is what's the name? Decriminalized. I know I had it and then you forgot it. Now I can't remember it. Not trivialized.
Stigmatized. Destigmatized.
Yeah, when you see a person wearing a mask, like that. By the way, Asia was doing this years ago.
Yeah.
You see people in Japan wearing masks. They're not wearing masks.
Well, and you know why?
They're wearing masks because they don't want to get sick from.
Because they had the SARS. They had their own mini pandemics. It just didn't cross over, right?
They had their own COVID.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy to look back on now with a bit of understanding and empathy and be like, fuck, there was a virus like running rampant in cities and we just literally lived our lives. We literally changed nothing.
Didn't give a shit. Didn't give a shit. And that's... I actually listened to our episode just before the pandemic.
I think you said this on the last podcast as well.
Did I?
Yeah.
I don't think I did, but I
went back and listened to the... Yeah.
Yeah, and it was
just before we mentioned it, or just before we went down into lockdown. Like we went
just before we went down into lockdown.
Right, yeah.
I was so cavalier.
Yeah.
I was like, nah, and I remember that mindset.
Yeah.
I remember thinking, this is just another thing. Like Ebola was the most recent one.
Yeah.
That was in my mind.
Yeah.
When I was thinking of COVID, I was like, it'll never get here. 1 week later, don't have a job. Crazy. Did your personal trainer just text you
we're booked
again?
in for 9 a.m. Yeah.
So I thought you were deciding whether or not to book in.
No, he'd got the time wrong. So it was meant to be 10, but he booked it wrongly. So that's why I'm a bit annoyed. But you know,
colour hair does
no
he
pain,
have?
no gain. I've never looked at his head.
Good.
If you've enjoyed this kind of nonsense, I'm so glad to have you back. Thank you for being here. It's been nice to bring you along in what was a nice little catch up for us both. There's a whole bunch of other episodes out there. You can scroll down that podcast player and pick out any episode you like. Have you listened to 67? Oh, what an episode. It wasn't? Oh, okay. 68? 69.
69 was fucking awesome, dude.
Okay.
Fucking sick.
The sex number. If you have a question or a comment, then you can send it to deepforward@gmail.com. You can get in touch with us at anywhere. By the phrasing of that,
.com.
I got out that phrasing very aggressively, and then I didn't know where to go from it. You can reach us anywhere at Deep Forward. That's Twitter. That's at Facebook. That's at Instagram. That's at SoundCloud. That is at Baker's Delight. And if you want to listen to... fuck, I don't know. Look, it's been a while, okay? Fuck, I'll get back into it. I'm sorry.
They know. They know. You're
They
dusty. You're rusty. You're
I'm dusty,
slusty.
I'm rusty. I've had a hot ginger gin and tea. And it's sitting nicely.
I'm thinking about not drinking
Okay.
for an extended period of time.
You've done that before and enjoyed it. You slept better.
I did. Thinking about doing it again. But the problem is, things keep coming up. Events keep coming up.
Drinky things.
Drinky things. Things that you need to drink at.
Yeah.
I have fantasized about being like a guy that is sober and like telling people at parties, "No, sorry, I don't drink. I don't drink."
Why do you have a
sober."
different accent in these hallucinations?
Because this is sober Mike.
Okay.
I'm like American. You can't tell where I'm from. Sorry, I don't drink. I'm actually sober. Yeah, I was a big alcoholic and I got a lot of stories, but at the end of the day, it just wasn't for me, and I just wanted to be better. And it wasn't about the party. It was about the love.
I stopped drinking,
sober Mike.
and all my fingers grew back.
It'd be such a good line at a party. Just to be like if you're at like a hotel, someone with a waitress or waiter with it's a waiter with champagne flutes, and just telling them that. It's like, sorry, I don't drink. I stopped drinking and all my fingers grew back, so none for me. Okay. Sure.
Did you
This
have
has
a
been
story?
Bit
I
City,
forget?
dude. This has been Bit City.
This has been
A lot of bits in this.
This has been bit.ly. I've got a question.
You had
for
a question.
I have a question. That's what I was fumbling for.
Martin Luther Queen.
Now, just remember, as what? No, I'm gonna leave it. Just remember, as we ramble our way to the end, that you've probably enjoyed the previous discussion somewhat. So I'm not promising anything with this question, but I do have a genuine question here, and you come from a religious background, so I'm hoping that you can clear this up for me. Okay,
already. Love it already.
Easter just passed, yeah.
Christos plus Christ.
Jesus famously didn't have a great time of it. He got a little bit dead at the start. Things got better towards the end, right?
Well put.
How long was Jesus out of it for, right?
3 days.
3 days. And what day was he crucified?
Well, two days, because
This is my question, Michael.
Good point, Nick.
This is my question.
He's going to bed Friday night.
Friday.
He has Saturday off, sure.
Uh-huh.
But then he wakes up Sunday morning.
Sunday. It is Sunday, right? It's not just me.
Great point.
It's not just me.
Great point.
If he wakes up on Sunday, at best, that's like 2.5 days.
100%.
They've-
And now that I think about it, Nick, I've had nights where I've gone to bed on Friday. I've had such a bender that I've lost a day as well. It was fine.
Yeah.
No one wrote a book about me.
If you, let's say, crucifixions, you got to like nail all the wood together, drag it up a hill. There's a crowd, you got to get the PA system together. Let's call it conservatively, the earliest you can get nails in a guy's maybe 2:00 in the afternoon. Do you think come Sunday morning, he's going to wait till 2 to go walking out again? He's going to be hungry. He's going to want a bacon buddy. It'll be like 10 a.m. max. That is not 3 days. I'm sorry, that is not 3 days.
It's a great
It's
point.
like
I've never thought about it until you prompted me
45
there.
hours.
So what you're saying is Jesus is a cheat.
I think that he owes us at least another day and a half of dead.
Go back to bed, fat man.
Go back
but-
to bed, Jesus.
Wait, so did Jesus... It's not your time. We're good. Just controlling.
Is that going to be our end of podcast saying now? How some podcasts have the final line that they always say, and ours is just
Keep it
go back
crispy.
to bed, Jesus.
All right, let's just end every pod with "Go Back to Bed, Jesus."
We'll see how we go.
In one episode. Yeah. So, did Jesus actually? Do you know for a fact that Jesus rose on Sunday at 2 p.m.?
No, I'm picking times here, right? But like, I was saying that the 2 p.m. was probably the Friday crucifixion time. Like you can't get a crucifixion going at 9 a.m. That's going to be some crowd
challenge
management.
you there. I'm going to challenge you there. Just having watched King of Kings probably 38 times with my grandma Bubcha. Shout out to Bubcha. And Jesus died around kind of dusk.
Okay. So that's
maybe
even
6
later.
PM?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what that doesn't disagree with what I said. I said the earliest you could get a crucifixion going is 2 p.m. So 6 o'clock, that's totally valid.
Such a good saying, by the way.
Yeah.
such a good quote for your business card. So let's say 6 p.m.
Yeah. That means in order for him to be in that cave for 3 days, 6 p.m. Saturday, 6 p.m. Sunday, 6 p.m. Monday. He can't come out of that cave till 6 p.m. Monday for him to have been there for 3 days, right? And we celebrate it on Sunday. We're getting eggs out. We're letting the kids run around in caves in celebration of Jesus Christ. And he's still bloody in there.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Here's the thing that I and like you said, being someone who was religious or at least got brought up religious, here's what I think people don't do who actually believe in this bullshit. Like they'll say that they believe that Jesus actually rose from the dead. But I always want to say, okay, just take it one step further. Just imagine you're there and you see some Middle Eastern guy just coming out of a cave and just all the shit that follows. Just imagine that shit. Imagine actually seeing that shit. It's absolute bullshit. Like, you can't imagine it because it didn't happen or it couldn't happen.
You're saying your argument is that it's so, like, when you get into the specificities of what it looked like and what he did and then what happened next and all of the practicalities of it.
All of the miracles.
When you take it out of a fable, it becomes so implausible.
Exactly. Think about it not as if it's some story you've heard a million times. Think about it actually happening. If you think it actually just imagine it happening.
Imagine how the advertiser would have covered it.
And I'm sure many people in Adelaide do.
Well, I'm glad that you agree with me.
Great point. Oh, I agree with you. Couldn't agree with you more.
And that's why I'm now an atheist.
Finally an atheist.
Go back to bed, Jesus.
I used to care so much about being an atheist.
Okay, that was meant to be. That's right.
Oh, sorry.
This is probably.
I forgot that we were recording
That's
a
okay.
podcast. So we're just hanging out. I did.